What's up, y'all? We are right back at it. Welcome back, Cajun Libertarian Live. I am the host, the Cajun Libertarian, and we've been putting our foot to the gas here, as I promised, and here we go again. So tonight we have the co-host of the Fab Show, and I'm sure everybody saw the promo, long list there, and not even done, right? Everybody that comes out here has a super impressive resume, and so as we always say, with that being said, let's bring her on. Britt,
Hi, thanks for having me on.
for sure. Thanks for coming on. How's your day been?
It's been crazy, so just normal, like usual.
Yeah, yeah, I deal with that too. You got a lot of intensity and sometimes seems like chaos around all this. So completely empathize for sure.
Yeah, it's a little, like out of the shot. We're live. That's how live is. Yeah,
Oh
it's
yeah.
just been like just super crazy. I have a new show coming out. I am now co-founding the Freedom Fest, like the West Coast version of kind of like Pork Fest. Um, I'm adminning and modding in the Healthy Debates Club on Clubhouse, which is the biggest debate club on Clubhouse. So it's kind of wild to just like have all this stuff all of a sudden. And then, like I said, my new show's coming out June 11th with Freckled Liberty and Rachel Nix. And it's going to be just wild. It's sketch comedy, and we have great ideas, but there's been a lot of breaking of character. So just trying to get that all together. And then also, I'm a mom. My kids are running around in the background right now, and um, you know, just day to day, like it never stops.
Right. Yeah, I know the parent thing, like we talked about before. I got 3 of them, and you got 2 of them, so that makes it equally as difficult to do all this craziness we're trying to do. So Kenneth comments www.freedomfest.com. Thank
Yay!
you, Kenneth.
It's actually gonna be uh, free DUMB fest, like freedomfest.org. But thank you for that. So
Yeah.
we're trying to
Yeah.
get the website up right now. So
You're in LA, right?
I am. I'm in Los Angeles, born and raised. So you guys can
Nice.
hear my Valley Girl accent. So
Where's the Freedom Fest going to be? I've heard a lot of talk about it.
oh gosh. So we actually were looking into, we had 3 places in California, all of which were great, all of which would have been perfect, all of which are very heavily restricted because of world timeout and our overlord Gavin Newsom. So it's been like a whole can of squirrels that we're just dealing with, trying to like get a new venue. And so it's going to be on the West Coast. We're hoping that it's going to be California, Arizona, or Colorado. So those are our 3 big like states. And as soon as I get more information, I promise like I will have it up. People are asking me every day, and it's kind of like it just kind of got thrown in my lap. So I'm trying to get all the information. I'm working with Nord Libertarian on Twitter. So if you guys know Barry, then shout him out. He's like just the one that's kind of like spearheading this whole thing. I'm just along for the ride, really. So
I say that all the time. Yeah. Yeah, you got people that are just stringing me along. I'm limping around this thing, but great teammates. So, yeah, no, that's awesome. What exactly is the freedomfest.org going to be about?
so it's going to be, we're going to have panelists, and I know who the panelists are, but I can't announce it yet. Like, but I'm super excited. Some of them are really big. I know, I want to share so bad. We're going to have music by libertarian artists, which I'm really kind of stoked about because there's so many artists, and we do this thing in society where we're like, just shut up and act, just shut up and sing, unless you're on the left. Then it's like, shut up and go to every Joe Biden like rally, and stump for leftist causes. But if anyone else does it, it's like, why are you giving your opinion? So I'm really, really stoked that there's going to be liberty-minded artists that are going to be playing on one stage. We're going to have panelists in the morning, some great speakers coming out talking about libertarian issues, and speaking about some of the things that we're having to do for this festival because of the lockdowns and because of the tyranny that we're dealing with in this country right now. Just to put this festival on, it's just been wild. Like, so to be able to like put into action what's actually happening, and speak about it and really kind of just say like, oh yeah, this is not okay. I think it's going to be great. We're also looking at a ton of local breweries. So, we had them all set up for California. We're hoping that still goes through. If not, we're already talking with Arizona. So Barry's actually going out to Arizona next week to kind of figure out which way we're going with this. It's like such a baby like project right now, but Barry's put so much work into this that like I just know he's going to be able to pull it off, and it's going to be great, and everyone's going to love it.
Yeah. And so even though it's in its infancy stages, and you may not be at liberty to say, but can you tell us any of the speakers?
No, I can't. I
I knew that
want
answer.
to. I was like, I was like right there, like, oh yeah. And then I realized I can't yet, but I will as soon as I'm allowed to. So
I figured that was the answer, but I wanted to take my shot.
how about I come back when I know the speakers, and I will give you the full lineup. You'll be the first interview.
Yeah, we might have to break that. That might be fun. Do you have a timeline for that?
I think we're going to be we'll be announcing them in the next 45 days to 90 days. Okay. So
I'll take that bet.
I'm trying to be vague.
No, you're good, because the only reason I even asked for that specificity is because, well, I mean, I've told you already, I'm booked 4 shows a week with 3 interviews until mid-July. So I would love to break that news. Obviously, I'd love for you to come on here and tell everybody for the first time all about it. And so I guess we'll tentatively plan for that.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you about the Fab Show. So,
oh yeah, of course. Well, we got sidetracked there. I was actually going to ask you to tell everybody about how the show, because I heard you talking to Brian Nichols about it, and I found it extraordinarily interesting as well. You had one format, and then you guys are taking a pause, and now you're basically building a brand new format, right?
Yeah, we are. We're rebooting the whole show. So we started out at the beginning of World Timeout doing the Freckles and Britt show. And it started out so organically. It was just me. I was going to do a podcast. Freckled Liberty was my first guest. And I asked her on the show, like, as we're doing it, I was like, this is so much fun. You want to do this with me every week? And she was like, yeah, let's do it. So that's how the Freckles and Britt show started. And we have interviewed so many great, just libertarian and liberty-minded thinkers. And we loved what we were doing, but also we have like another side to ourselves. And sometimes we had noticed during the show that if I wanted to, like, I would crack a joke or say something, and it kind of would just it would fall flat sometimes with a guest, not because it wasn't funny, but because we're talking about such heavy subject matter. And it's important to dive into these things. But not, it's like every week, 2-3 hours of it. Sometimes it's just a lot. And so we had the idea that what if we lightened this up a little bit? What if we brought the concept and the ideas of liberty to people, but we made it a little more palatable? We added sketch comedy. We added, our guests in an interesting way. I always say it's going to end up being kind of like, if like Bill Maher and the Muppet Show had a baby, but with no Muppets. I don't know. Maybe Rachel has one skit with Muppets, and I'm not sure it's gonna work. I think it might get us canceled. She did have, And she did do like a whole Randy Newman theme song
Nice.
today that I cannot wait for people to
I
hear. It's
love that.
amazing. But we just thought let's bring this in a different format. Our show before was live. Now it's going to be pre-recorded, and we're gonna air it every Friday night, and then we're going to have clubhouse chats afterwards so that you can talk about the show, you can discuss the show, and we're going to be streaming the show, the podcast of the show in the clubhouse room before, and then we're going to open it up for people to talk about because we still want to have an audience. I love interacting with the audience on the show, but there's no way to like really feasibly do that.
Yeah.
The direction we're going in it, and it's kind of a trip because we thought there would be like a blueprint out there for us to do this, and there's really not. It's almost like we're trying. It's almost like we're trying out television on YouTube and podcasting. So it's really just like a variety type show. It's all going to be liberty minded. It's completely different. We think it's funny. When I was trying to, we were doing one of our segments yesterday with a guest, and I can tell you it was Clint from the Liberty Lockdown. He was our guest. He had no idea what was happening. His reaction to everything that you guys are going to see is his absolute real reaction because he was just like, what did I walk into? He was on the Freckles and Britt show 100 times. He was on all the time with us, and he walked into this and was like, I don't even know what, like everything was just turned on its head. So hopefully that's kind of what the audience reaction will be, is like, wow, this is completely different, but also I love it and I want more of it.
That's going to be exclusively on YouTube?
It's going to be on YouTube, and then we're going to be, it will be streaming on the podcast. So it'll be on Apple, Google. Oh, my pizza's here. So
We talked about that.
I'm going to stop for a minute and get my pizza. So if you want to, if you have intermission music, I'll be right back.
Sure. Yeah. I'm doing a thing. I don't know if y'all can all see that, but yeah, so that's hilarious. When we talked right before this, she said that she asked, this is my fault. I usually tell people that this is a live show because most people don't do live shows. They record them, they pre-record them, and then drop them so that you can cut and edit all the mistakes that you guys get to enjoy, that I so generously put out there for you every night that we're on here. Sunday nights, Monday nights, Wednesday nights, Friday nights, 8:30 p.m. CST until mid-July. And afterwards, I'm actually not even taking appointments or scheduling any interviews right now because I'm not even sure I can handle to map out the rest of July. That being said, as we were talking beforehand, she said, out of all the nights to be live, the pizza said that they were going to show up late. So they might come in the middle of the interview. And I said, no, they're definitely coming in the middle of the interview, but that'll be a hilarious story. So don't even worry about it. And so, oh, look, perfect filler time.
I made it
right back.
So
Nice. Where'd you get it from, though? We got to know.
From Guido's Pizza. So yeah, that's not super racially charged right there.
What kind of pizza did you get?
It's for my kids, so it's just pepperoni, sausage, and bell pepper, or I think tomatoes. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And it says pizza in LA. I can only imagine. Doesn't everywhere have pizza?
Everywhere has pizza. The thing about it is people don't realize that Los Angeles. People know Los Angeles has a great foodie culture, but they tend to not like Los Angeles pizza or not think about it. But there's some absolutely great joints.
I can imagine.
They're not all California Pizza Kitchen. So, this place is good.
Yeah. We have people down here that sell California style pizzas. So I don't know about that one. I love you, Kenneth, though. But I had to put some
California style. Like, does it have like avocado and artichoke on it? Is that?
Oh, this is what it is. Sorry, hold on, wrong one.
Oh,
New Jersey pizza is king. That's why.
we
It's good.
actually. So here's the thing. Um, I'm Italian, and I make pizza from scratch most of the time. So the reason my kids are getting pizza tonight is because I'm doing this interview. But
Mhm.
it's not like we don't really order a whole lot of pizza, but we do eat a ton of pizza. So we make it at home a lot.
Nice.
My daughter, that's like her favorite thing. So it's just easier to buy everything and have it all the time.
So I'm gonna ask this real quick, and then I want to ask you something specific about what you're talking about right now. So I don't know if you, I know you're just as busy or busier than I am. I don't know if you got caught the great seafood debate, but Myron says, "What is your stance on seafood?" And the great seafood debate was between myself and the Eskimo libertarian as to whether you would rather have your seafood seasoned perfectly to perfection, or would you rather have it Alaskan style, with no seasoning and just caught right out the river and on an open flame.
I like my seafood seasoned. So
Ah, there we go.
I mean, I
Easy
don't.
win.
Yeah. Why would you want food that's not seasoned? I
Yeah, yep.
I mean,
Mhm.
I don't. I'm probably the worst person to ask that to because I like if you saw my spice pantry right now, it's just chock full of everything. Like you can barely close the door. I like
Nice.
seasoning.
I love it.
So
Yes, I love
yeah,
it.
everything's seasoned. So
Absolutely. Another W
that's
in the
not a
books for
debate.
Cajun
That's
Liberty.
like
Yeah.
one person that probably needs some. Yeah, no, no,
Well,
that's
she had good marketing. I'm playing it down, right? I am playing it down. It was fresh Alaskan wild caught seafood, and then they did do a little bit of extra work to it, and then they open flamed it versus like a Cajun style recipe where
that.
you have a lot of seasonings.
So we order seafood a lot from like an Alaska. It's I think it's actually called Alaskan Wild, and it's flash frozen and shipped to our door. So,
Nice.
um, but we season it. So sorry, I broke your seafood plan.
Oh, you didn't. You're good. What wrong one?
I feel
Ashley
like I'm
said.
getting unfollowed by like half of seafood Twitter right now. So
Oh, it's fun. It's all been super fun. We've actually both gained a lot of traffic because of it.
oh, it's
Running.
Ashley. Hi, Ashley.
Oh yeah, she said objection, leading the witness. Yeah, you
No,
right.
no,
I got.
I thought you were gonna be the other way. So I was not I didn't want to say anything. I guess it just it no, it doesn't depend on what it is. I don't want to eat anything that's not seasoned. I mean,
Thank you. I
I
would
guess
like it. I would like it Alaskan, fresh, wild caught, and Cajun seasoned.
yeah,
That's the
that's
way to go.
like if I'm gonna have like shrimp or something, I want it on the grill, seasoned. I mean, and that like char that like oh now I want seafood. Fuck that pizza.
My
Oh
bad.
man,
Yeah. It's funny, but I did want to ask you because you and I have talked right on the in the clubhouse thing. If y'all aren't, excuse me, sorry, if y'all aren't in clubhouse, wow, that's a bunch of fun. And
yeah.
so follow Britt in clubhouse and get on there with us.
They should
Ashley
have
says you
already
better.
known I like seasoning. My clubhouse like at is Salt by Brit. So
Yeah.
I definitely like the seasoning.
So you order pizza for the kids. You said y'all make a lot of your own pizza. Something that I have to be careful with as a diabetic is pizza because of all the white bread. And both of your kids are diabetics as well. And so how do you go about navigating that diet? And if you don't mind me asking you, so I'm a type 1 diabetic. We talked about that. And both of your kids are type 1s. They're juvenile diabetics. I am not a juvenile diabetic. When you learn the first time about your oldest kid having diabetes at a juvenile diabetes, such a dangerous disease. What was that learning curve like for you specifically?
So Brixton was 3 when he was diagnosed, and I kept getting this Facebook post from this mom that had lost a child to type 1 diabetes. and I would read it and it would keep coming up, and I was like, what? How would any parent really even know? This just looks like symptoms that a toddler would have. Um, and I thought, well, if it was happening to a 12-year-old, then I would understand. So then it kept getting, he had also just started preschool, and he was tired. He was sleeping more and more. And so I called the doctor's office, and initially they put me off and said, like, he's probably just, reverse potty training because of school. And um, the worst thing that I've ever done in my life was one day we were driving to school, and he had an accident. He peed in the car seat, and I turned around and I said, Brixton, I do not care anymore if you don't want to go to school. Stop doing this. I know you're doing it on purpose. And I didn't yell at him, but I said it in such a stern way. I was trying to let him know, like, that's, you're not going to get out of school by doing this. And he started crying, and I called the doctor's office back and said, I really think something's wrong. This doesn't seem like him, because he does like school. And he was sleeping all day. Like, he would sleep like 12 hours, then 15 hours, and he was then sleeping any time he wasn't at school. And the doctor's office was like, well, we'll see him next week. And I tried. I to this day, I feel like this just whole period, I made so many huge mistakes. I should have had them go in. I should have made them do this, but I called back and I felt rude, and they kind of made me feel like I was overreacting. By the time we got him into to the doctor's office, his blood sugar was like 1400. So if anybody
Ooh.
doesn't really know, you kind of go from a range between like 70 and 150. Most people, unless they're like most people that don't have type 1 or type 2 diabetes or gestational, we won't go into all of them, but just for like type 1, type 2,
Right.
if you are just a normal person without any sort of issue, your blood sugar is really never going to go over 150. Maybe it'll
Right.
spike up to 200 after like a really like pancakes and syrup type meal. Um, he was so high that we rushed him to the hospital. By the time he got to the hospital, he couldn't talk. I remember my husband was just trying to stay calm, and I couldn't even uh, really express how I was feeling at the time. When we got into the hospital, we took him to Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and they prepared us, letting us know that he was in diabetic ketoacidosis, that he
Okay.
probably wasn't going to make it, that they were trying to bring his blood sugar down, and his brain was swelling because they were trying to bring his blood sugar down, and they just had to get this perfect balance because it started coming down too fast. He was getting hydrated too quickly. Um, he had a room. I remember them kind of preparing us, and then my family was calling. I wouldn't let anyone come down because I just was kind of hedging my bets. Like, if something did happen, I didn't want to have to make anyone else feel okay in that moment. I didn't want to have to tell everyone, like, I didn't want to have to comfort anyone else. And also, I didn't want anyone else there taking away time from my baby. And at the time, Sparrow, my daughter, was 6 months old. She was with my mother-in-law. And it was like they were texting me. She was getting upset because she was exclusively breastfed, and they're calling me, and I don't know how to tell them, like, that our older child is dying. And it was just a really awful time. And at one point, they said to me, we have a room waiting for him upstairs, but he's not stable enough to go into the actual hospital, so he has to stay in the emergency room. We can't even move him. And I thought back to all those Facebook posts I saw, and I just went outside and I started praying. And I was like, if you didn't want him to make it, you wouldn't have sent all of these propose. You wouldn't have done this. You wouldn't have a room upstairs for him waiting. If there's a room for him waiting in this hospital for recovery, then he's making it to that fucking room. Like, and I just was praying. I was like, I just refused to like accept anything else. And I came back in, and I'm not trying to like convert anyone. I'm not trying to be like, oh, whatever. I don't want anyone to think that. I'm just telling you my story. But it was like within minutes they came in and said, okay, his blood sugar is coming down. We're going to be able to get him into a room tonight. And it's like you have this like, I can't even tell you like the relief that washed over me. And then so we get into the hospital. We were there for about a week because you have to go through all this training. There was a lot. It wasn't like they caught it early and we could just get our training and go home. He had a lot of recovery to do, and he had, IVs in both his arms. And I remember when I remember telling them he's freaking out, not because of the IVs, but because he can see them. And Children's Hospital Los Angeles is so great. I mean, they had like these covers for him, and they called them his robot arms, and they had like child life people come in and bring him toys, and it was great. We ended up switching to UCLA, and that's a whole different can of squirrels. But yeah, he was there for about a week, and we did the learning curve. He was diagnosed in September. We did our first walk for the JDRF in October. We raised like $20,000 for the JDRF. I was like, we're doing this. We're going, full stream ahead. And I just never really had a chance to grieve about it. I just was like, it was so hard to try and figure out shots every day. I mean, I was shot. The only thing that I really knew about type 1 diabetes was a movie that I had seen with Michael Keaton years ago, when he ends up like, him and his wife take in these 3 little girls, and one of them had type 1, and they gave her 1 shot a day. And when I found out I had to give him a shot multiple times a day, I was just so sad for him, but we had to keep moving on. And I always tell parents, like, that are newly diagnosed, like, it doesn't get easier, but you get better. And I kind of lived by that motto for about 4 years, until January of this year, when Sparrow was diagnosed. Right. And by this time we were already at UCLA, and fortunately our endocrinologist is a head of pediatric endocrinology for UCLA. And so I emailed him when we were on our way to the emergency room with Sparrow. I caught hers earlier, and he said, is she in DK? And I said, no. I don't even know why we need to be here. I know more than they know in the emergency room about this. And he's like, I agree. Just leave and we'll go. Just leave. I already have labs set up for you. She's going to be my patient, and we'll just figure it out. So I was able to get started on everything with her really quickly, because, I mean, you know how it is. This is the one disease where you're like managing it yourself. You're the one that's like picking your dosage. I mean, it's like wild. If somebody went in and said like, I don't want to take this much heart medication, so I started taking another one, it would be like, what? But with diabetes, it's like, yeah, this level of insulin isn't working. So anyways, we took her, I took her, she did the whole thing. And as I was leaving, I remember just my libertarian spirit. I was so mad. They were going to call Child Protective Services on me for leaving with a child that I thought had type 1 diabetes. And I said, well, I'm not waiting here for her. We're going around the corner. And they were actually trying to hold me there. And I said, if you don't get your hands off of me, you're going to lose your job, and probably everyone in this place will. I have no problem like being that. Like, I don't care. I'll be that bitch. When I dealing with my kids, I don't care. And I knew that the endocrinologist was going to call down there anyways. So they called and cleared it. We got home. She had most of her equipment that day. And then what she didn't have, I had for Brixton, so it didn't really matter. I put her to bed that night. I went into my living room. I went in and got in bed, and then I got up. I walked into the living room, and I just sat on the couch and cried for 8 hours straight. I've never grieved. Like I had such my heart hurt so much. I had so much grief. It was as if someone had died. And it was like every feeling that I had for Brixton that I didn't let myself have because I had to learn this thing
Right.
came back up. And then I was dealing with it with her, with Sparrow also. And I just, it was like I knew everything that she was going to be dealing with. I knew how hard it was going to be for her adjusting to shots. I knew that I was going to have a little girl telling me, why does she have to have type 1 diabetes? Why, I didn't know how bad it was going to be, but it was bad with Brixton. Brixton told me he wanted to die at 3 years old. He told me he wanted to kill himself. And if anybody out there has dealt with a suicidal child, it's like everything in your world just like spins and comes into this like blunt focus, and you are just grasping at like, how do I fix this, how do I make this okay for my baby, because you can't love anyone more. Like it's like you love these kids more than you love yourself, and you just, I'm watching them deal with this thing and be too little to really understand the ramifications of what's going on for their full fucking life.
Right.
And I'm just thinking, thank God, he's alive. And now with her, I know I can keep her safe. I know that I can do it. I just know how hard it is. And I stayed in bed for a long time. Like, it sounds so selfish. And then I was also at this time, this was in the middle of world timeout. I was over 300 pounds at the time. I was just miserable. I just wanted to stay in bed and cry all the time. And I was like, you know, these kids go through a fucking lot already. They already have to deal with this. They don't need an overweight mom that's crying and sad all the time, that doesn't let them live life, that's now terrified because we don't know how, COVID's going to affect type 1s. And I just was like, we're not going to do this. We started changing how we did things. I started changing how I did things. And I stopped having the attitude of like, this is the most detrimental thing that's ever happened in our lives. I got out of bed. I lost 60 pounds over the last couple months. I've started taking them out. We take their fucking masks off because all of a sudden we have a new president, and now we know that it's okay to go outside again. And apparently, you know, politics lead infectious disease and viruses. I talked to our endocrinologist. My husband and I did what we had to do to, make sure that we're healthy and safe for our kids. And we're just moving forward. Like, so yeah, sorry if that was a lot. I know that was a lot.
Yeah.
So,
No, 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 no. It's fine. Um, I want to say so much there. I'm going to keep it at this though. We have a tight community, and I'll let you know, and you already know that, right? But I am literally leaving out tomorrow morning. Every 3 months, I have to do something special for work where I got to go around and do this one specific thing, and I got to travel up to Tennessee to finish out the month. And I'm headed tomorrow to travel up to Tennessee. I'll stay the night there, and two of the employees at this apartment complex that I'm going to treat, one of which is a juvenile diabetic, and then the other is a dad of two juvenile diabetics.
oh,
And so, yeah, all of us right here, and then all of us right here, you and I right here, and then all of those people I just said are all, dealing with type 1 diabetes. And it is rough. Like, it was a big learning curve for me. That was the biggest part of it, really, was that I had to control it. It didn't affect me as emotionally as it affected you, because I couldn't imagine dealing with my kids on that level. For me personally, it's been a lot easier dealing with the diabetes than the other stuff that caused it, by a long shot. But it's such a huge life change, and I don't think people really. I feel like super. And look, I may be self projecting here, but on the surface, it feels like the diabetes on its face is just, ah, you just can't eat sweets no more, and that's just so far from the truth. It's incredible the life change that happens, and with type 2, it's a little bit easier. You're making insulin, and you use the pills to assist. But when you become insulin independent, and it's weird how certain things will affect you, and it's weird to me how I could eat the same thing and take the same insulin this night, and then I go and eat that same thing and take the same insulin a week from now, and the result is completely different. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just so frustrating. It weighed on me mentally because I've only been dealing with this for 3 years, and it felt like I'll never get a hold of this. And finally, you kind of hit a stride where you're learning foods, without having with accompanied with all the ungodly amount of research that they give you to have. I mean, stacks of paperwork I had to read through when I left the hospital. It's like overwhelming mentally, and again, that's me. I'm not dealing with that with my kids, but that's also a very good point because that brings up something that's very important in your situation, which is when you send your kids off to school, they absolutely have to have specific needs and attention. And so that uh, school education is very high on your priority list.
Yeah. So my kids, they went to a Reggio Emilia preschool, and that's where Brixton was when Brixton was there when he was diagnosed, and they did great. It was a smaller school. There was a lot of bumps because they were still learning. We moved to an area, so Los Angeles has terrible public schools. We moved to an area that is known for good schools, um, so that we could put him in a public school because I had this very naive ideal that if I put him in a good public school and if I'm the room mom and if I'm there, we can, make it work and he can have that experience. And the thing is you can't. They do everything. They set it up so that it's trash. Um, but he spent most of his day when he started public school in the nurse's office. He would spend half his day in there. I had to fight to get him an aide. He was 5 years old, and they knew that if his blood sugar went, I mean, if your blood sugar goes too low or even
Yeah,
too high
yeah.
in his case, like you can't focus, you can lose consciousness. There's so many things that could happen. And it was like they wanted to fight me on it. And I was like, this is not how this is going to happen. And
Right.
he had a full time aide, but they tried and it was like I don't know, they had her doing other things. And then she would tell him he couldn't go to the office to get bolused because even if the kids were having a snack, because like it'll be fine, he can just eat it later. And it was like in our 504 plan, like, no, he's not, he is already has to deal with being different. Like, we're not going to make it harder for him. He's not going to sit there and watch his classmates enjoy like a birthday party or whatever. And he has to sit there like, no. And I just was done with the whole thing. So we put him into a charter homeschool. Um, he he is thriving now. There's been bumps. I mean, there always
Yeah,
is.
of
Um,
course.
I have underneath this desk here is a whole stack of curriculum that we picked out. We have basically the school that we go to. We get, I believe, $2,400 a year that can go towards curriculum and things that we need for school. And it's just in an account. I order everything that I need, and then the school approves it, and then they place the order for me. And we meet with his teacher every 30 days. I actually talk with her a lot more than that. Um, she's always available if we need her for anything. We meet with her every
Nice.
30 days to make sure we're on track. I can't recommend, like, if you're thinking about homeschool, and you want to jump right in, like, jump right in. But if you're kind of not sure, like, oh, you don't want to be in the public school system, you want to get your kids on homeschool, I would really recommend checking out some of these like homeschool charters where it's kind of like a step, like you're stepping in, like you're just kind of tipping your feet into the water of homeschooling. And the truth of the matter is you're really ending up you're doing all the work, but you have someone to hold your hand through it with you and to offset the cost, because this curriculum, a
Yeah.
lot of it is not cheap. I found other ways, Teachers Pay Teacher, topteacher.com, like where teachers submit work for other teachers and you can buy lessons. And anyone, like I'm on Clubhouse at Salt by Britt. I'm on Twitter at Tweets by Britt. You guys can DM me or message me if you have any questions about homeschool or charter schooling. It's frustrating knowing what my child went through in a public school setting and watching a extremely far left leaning um, ideology play out and talk about how we all have to be inclusive and equality and how yeah yes I can, and how can you go get the scissors, sorry,
No, don't
and
be.
talk about how we have to be inclusive, and that's why we have to have public schools and teachers unions trying to like stop charter schooling, stop homeschooling, and put a child in a situation that's dangerous for them. They let my child on the first and second day of kindergarten, both days, they let my kid's blood sugar go to 41 the first day and to 22 the second day.
Oh
22.
my God.
How freaking long did they let him sit
Look.
there that he dropped to 22? I mean,
To give y'all a reference point. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off right there.
no.
This is extraordinarily important. Let me give you all a reference point. I'm 3 years into this. I've figured out my low blood sugar as a type 1. Literally, when I hit below 75, my world stops. I have to stop everything. If I'm driving, it doesn't matter. Everything stops when I hit 75. When I hit 74 to 70, I have to stop everything I'm doing and go get something to eat. Sugar right now, a cup of juice if I can get it. That's my major alarm. If I drop down below 60, which I did once in the hospital, and then I had a team of doctors rush in. I could die below 60. So 40 something and 22. I know juveniles can handle it a lot better, but that's still brutal for a child because my eyes would blur. I felt like I could eat an entire house. The entire world stops at 70 something.
Yeah, they've let his blood sugar go over 500 multiple times.
That's
And
supposed to go to the
they
hospital.
said, like, it was me. It was how I had his settings. Um, we went back to the endocrinologist. There's stacks and stacks of paperwork. And here's the thing, I'm not like, oh, I'm so great at this. I'm not so great. I'm really fucking good at taking care of my kids' blood
Oh,
sugar.
yeah,
Like,
I can tell.
it was them. And so it's frustrating that there's a whole ideology that is, to use leftist terminology, very ableist. They want to keep kids in a school system that is designed only for the fastest, the strongest, and the smartest to survive. It's only geared for those kids to escape from the public school system, because it's not to like teach them. It's not like they're like, oh, we're trying to build the best, fastest, strongest, smartest people. No, it's like this is like maze runner bullshit, and you're either gonna like take something out of it, try and just live through it, or just be like, fuck it, whatever, I'm gonna end up in prison anyways. Whether you have that mentality or it's just something you see or it just ends up happening. To me, I think saying it's a public school to prison pipeline is extremely accurate. It's not like I think it's even hyperbole at this point when we watch what
Right.
happens. I'm so angry when I think that we have children who, so how do I say this? You know what? It doesn't matter because I know what I'll be called and what people think about me either way. It bothers me so much that the biggest thing that we talk about when it comes to public school is we have to have funding for minority children. As if that's the only kids that go to public school, and as if public school benefits minority children. As if it benefit like
No, it
like
doesn't
as
benefit
if it's
anybody.
some great boon to them. Charter schools are still considered public schools in California. So I'm not understanding why, like, oh, we have to do this for minority children. Are you saying that you don't think that the parents of minority children are smart enough to make a decision on which education
That's what they're
platform
saying.
they choose to pursue? Yeah, I'm not.
That's what they're saying.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, my bad. I'm agreeing with you. That's what they're saying. Yes.
Yeah, it's it's ludicrous, and to just take out, uh, disabled children and children that have any sort of kind of, I don't want to say handicap, but anything that isn't just neurotypical, are this just isn't right in line with just how we just think of like a regular kid, whatever. Um, Knowing that they're just going to fall behind and they're just going to have to accept it, and we're just going to hurt them through. And it doesn't really matter, because the solution to that is just send them to the next grade and let them go all the way K through senior year with just kind of just, we're going to give you a diploma anyway. It's like, that's the thing. They don't say it, but that's what they're doing. That's
Yeah.
what they're doing. They're saying that, like, they're making the standards more fair for everyone. No, they're not. They're making it so that there's no standards, so that they can just keep getting funding, and so that they can produce a whole generation of people that think it's okay to be a fucking communist. Sorry.
Nah,
Like,
it's
it's
good.
true though. It's like they don't
Yeah.
care as long as they can push their social agenda. They don't care if people are actually educated. In fact, I would say dollar to dollar, they don't want people actually educated.
Oh,
They want people
I'd say that.
indoctrinated.
Yeah, for sure. I've been calling them socialistic indoctrination camps for a hot minute. And so, but that's why, like, when I made that group chat, well, I tried to make a group chat on uh on our app over there. I always forget the name, Clubhouse. I love it though. But somebody else made one for me because I couldn't figure it out. And we talked about that. That's when I invited Kevin in, and you joined the room, and then we talked afterwards, like how important school choice is. It's such a big deal because you should be able to send your kids where you want to send them. And I loved Kevin's approach to it. And they're actually introducing those bills on the at the House Representative of Oklahoma, I believe, where they're going to shift funding from the school to the student. And that makes much more sense. That
Yeah.
way, it doesn't matter if you're minority or if you're uh, somebody that's comes from a more wealthy area. Every kid, every child gets the same amount of funding to get them through and to have like specialized. And like I said in the group, I've said it before, I think teaching is a spiritual gift. And so I think there's a lot of people that are teachers that shouldn't be teachers. And I've watched my stepmom, she's about to grab drop, teach for over 30 something years. And I've watched a lot of people around me teach, and I've seen it. There's a lot of teachers that shouldn't be teachers. And this is incredibly important, especially for somebody in your situation where your child needs special care. No question. That's not, I mean, like, I don't know, man. I'm like putting somebody in the mouth if they told me I was the one mishandling their diabetes.
It was
No.
it was I walked straight out of a nurse's office into the principal's office and
I
explained
bet.
exactly why this person was just like, we weren't gonna get along from that day forward. And so it was, yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too far into it, but
Got
hey,
you.
you know what? I would say this, as far as like Clubhouse goes and school choice, we can talk after this, but
Yeah.
you want to start a club on this, if you want to start a room, if you want like a co-mod, I'm always down. I am a cat herder on Clubhouse.
What are
Uh,
you put on your promo?
well, there's actually Brandon Christensen, who's he's all over on Clubhouse, and he writes songs. That's a song that he wrote for me. He calls me the Clubhouse cat herder. I've only been on, I think, since March, and I end
Oh
up
my
modding rooms like every day. And I'm like, I think,
God.
I don't know if it's because I have like mom voice, maybe,
I don't know. I've been
but
on for since Saturday. You've been on since March. I've been on since Saturday.
yeah. So, I mean, and I'm wondering how many rooms you've been in since Saturday that I was modding. So
Huh. I don't know. I get the notifications for you all the time.
I know
Like,
people, it's a trip, and I love meeting new people. I feel bad because sometimes people come in and be like, oh, so and so told me to follow you, and uh, I try and follow people back. It's like it glitches out if you've been on it. Like sometimes it'll glitch out and not let you follow people back. But like I think it's so nice that people notice that. So, um, you know,
yeah.
I I I really appreciate that I have the opportunity to talk about this. But yeah, anytime if you, I am so I want to be involved in anything that is moving towards school choice for
Yes.
everything. And Corey does such like Corey DeAngelis. He does such great work. Kevin Hobby. I'm actually going to be on his show in the next couple
Chief
weeks.
chat.
Yeah, Chief Chat. And
Oh, okay. Okay.
so I'm like, I'm so passionate about this. It's so important. And it's not just because of my children, because I was passionate about this before. It's because I've watched, I've sat in these meetings, I've sat in these school board meetings, I've watched the online meetings, I've seen how they try and do things where they don't want to tell you when there's like a meeting in California, like they don't want to tell you when there's a meeting up in Sacramento until it's almost too late so that you can't get up there if you're in Southern California. I've seen how they'll sit there and say like, oh, school choice, parents who want to use funds to go to Disneyland, and in the same meetings before they talk, because they don't realize they're hot mic, that they're talking about a field trip to Disneyland, and it's like the hypocrisy is just disgusting and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the idea that charter schools are just ran by businessmen that don't care about children. Well, you know what? I actually don't think that that's an argument. I don't care if a charter is ran by a businessman that doesn't care about my children, because the difference between that and a public school is that a public school can be ran by a principal that doesn't care about children, that hates children, that is a masochist. And then my kids don't have a choice to leave. A charter school that's ran terribly and doesn't work out for children and parents goes out of business. And I would always choose the free market solution. I would choose the worst free market solution than the best government solution, because it's, at least I have the choice to leave.
Absolutely. There's no question about it. Yeah, free market education all the way. We're
Yeah.
going to have to do another show where we just talk about that because I feel like that was a great mic drop.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because yeah, I would look instead. Maybe we do a whole nother, and I know we kind of did one, but that was last minute. But for anybody that's on Clubhouse, and we'll talk about it behind the scenes. Let's drop an event where we just focus everything on school choice
Yeah.
and
Let's
just
do it.
run. Yeah, we can do. Look, if you don't know about Clubhouse, one thing that you can do is you can pop in and out. We got Liberty clubhouses or clubhouse groups going on like out or 24 hours a day. You can pop in, you can pop out. It's so easy. We'll create one that is focused on school choice and let it go as long as it wants to go. And you guys can pop in and out. Britt and I'll talk and figure it out. She is a clubhouse queen, Twitter queen. Oh,
Yeah. Both,
Quick
I
pop, Britt.
guess. If you guys need an
See you
invite,
everywhere now.
Clubhouse is exclusive. So you need an invite to join. If you need one, you can DM me on Twitter, Tweets by Britt, just for the Clubhouse invite. Like nothing else. Don't DM me for anything else. Or I'm joking. I mean, school choice, anything you guys want to talk about, I'll make sure I get you an invite. I have a ton of them. Join the Healthy Debates room in there. We're, I think, going to do something with school choice on a different thing, or maybe we'll do it in a Healthy Debates chat.
Ooh, yeah,
Um,
right.
but there's so much coming, down the Clubhouse is really just blowing up, especially with Android users being able to get on now. I really would just encourage people to get on there. It's a totally different platform from Twitter. It's not the contentious pick a side and start throwing tomatoes. Like
Right.
It happens sometimes. The rooms I'm in, I think part of the reason why I mod so much and why the Healthy Debates Club is the biggest debate club on Clubhouse is because the way that we mod it, we don't allow that level of ridiculous. We don't allow people to ad hominem attack each other.
Right.
We try and keep the conversation. It can get really heavy. It can get really passionate. It can get really deep. But also, we don't let people sit there and talk for 25 minutes. We try and keep a time for it. We don't let people just talk over each other. We don't, it's not a Jerry Springer fight. We're not doing
Right.
that. We're having a conversation because the whole point of moving forward and having civil discourse and people disagreeing, but being able to understand where the other person is coming from is so that we can progress as a society. And when there is a
Absolutely.
contentious group, especially when we have a contentious group that is, I would say, in the White House at this point, and I am throwing a little shade, but I think it happens on both sides. I think that we have a government that wants to make sure that we are extremely divided. We can't talk and we can't go, hey, that happens to me too. Like, we should figure out, like, so if it happens to you and it happens to me, who the fuck is causing this?
Right.
And we can't get to that place if we're always just like picking a team and, hoping our side wins at any cost. It doesn't work.
No, I mean I've been saying that for a long time now, and I think that's incredible. That's what, and I just said this with Sasha Cohen Friday night. We need to be able to have the conversation. We're not always going to all agree, and I would say in the libertarian community, we're all very passionate, so we're going to clash. But we need to have the conversation. And you invited me to join the Healthy Debates Club, and it's so stacked full of people. I think it's intimidating to even walk into, but I've been in several times, and it's just incredible. Exactly the way you say it. I think that does help the way you mod it. It's not just a free for all when it comes to some of these very intense discussions, and that's important. Like it's right here what Nalik says. Yes, it's such healthy
Yeah.
conversation too. It's
Thank
so
you.
important. It's
I
so
thank
important that
you.
we have the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And if you guys are Just for Liberty, she's on Twitter, Just for Liberty, Just Mirrors. I heard her saying the other day, if you just have a little bit of courage, come up and speak, then you'll get the hang of it really quickly. If you have
Yeah.
something to say, or if you feel like, oh, is this going to be something that I should bring up or shouldn't? I'm on anytime that I'm modding a room, I'm also checking my Twitter DMs. I'm also checking my Instagram DMs, Salt by Britt on Instagram. And you can just shoot me a DM and be like, hey, I want to say this, can you bring me up? Can you, I raised my hand and nobody got to me? Like, I'm fine with it. Even if you're saying, like, I think school choice is trash and I want public schooling, I can't get up on stage. Like, I'll be like, all right, I'll bring you up, because the point is for us to have a conversation. The point isn't an echo chamber. If I want an echo chamber, I can go on Twitter. Trust me, I have enough people that follow me there that they will tell me exactly what I want to hear all day long. So
Right.
I want to hear. I want to hear ideas that help me articulate what I already believe, just as much as I want to hear ideas that I disagree with, but that I can kind of chew on and think about and say, okay, is this still the right direction that I want to be going in or that I want to advocate for?
Yeah, or even just layers to it. You may still want to go in that direction, but you want to change this little tiny aspect of how you navigate that direction. It's
Yeah,
that healthy debate. The name of the club is Healthy Debate. I really did not mean to say that at all. That healthy debate is so freaking important. And so,
yeah,
yes, Healthy Debates Club.
yeah. Go follow the Healthy Debates Club. Follow me on Twitter, Tweets by Britt. Follow
Yep.
the Fab Show official. There's so much that I have going on. Like, it's hard to come in. I'm not. It's like I feel like I'm just like plugging everything that's happening in my life right now.
That's
Um,
part of it.
but yeah, come talk to me. I have conversations. I'm not I mean, we've talked on Twitter. I'm kind of known on Twitter. Like, I'm gonna talk to you if you want to say something to me. Um, I don't blow. I really try hard not to like blow people off or just ignore them. I don't care if you have a million followers or two. I'll talk to you. If you say something stupid, I will quote tweet you and tell you to stop drinking dumb bitch juice. But like, but I will respond. So
Right, right.
yeah, and you can.
Yeah,
I'm on Instagram too. I'm really bad at Instagram. I don't post pictures.
same.
I don't like. I have the olds, so I just don't like. I'm like Instagram. I always forget like how I'm supposed to post, but I do read my DMs there. Like I really care if people take the time to talk to me. I want to make sure I take the time to respond to them.
That's perfect. It's beautiful. We may not always get back to you right away, but yes, we all want to have the conversation. That's why the club has been so important. Clubhouse has been so important is because we can literally just pop in and out of conversations live. And I'm going to just keep plugging crap too. So thank you for coming on the show. You've been absolutely amazing. I loved your story so much. Uh, I am going to be biased because it has a personal effect on me, and because it's like when you see that car you like, right? I really love that car. And then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere. I get diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and now all of a sudden, everywhere I turn, I've got somebody that's affected with type 1 diabetes. And it just our health ties directly into something so specific like school choice for our children. And I've had so many requests. As dry as on the surface that topic sounds, so many requests for people to say, "Hey, I want to hear you talk more about school choice." So we're going to keep this going. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for
Um,
having me so much. And just one more
yeah,
thing. If you are a parent that has a newly diagnosed child, please, please feel free to reach out to me. I know it's a club no one wants to be in. I know it's a culture shock. I know we're taking up a lot of time. And
yeah.
sometimes you're like, I don't want to talk to other families that have type 1 because you don't want to be part of that community. And it sucks. I've been there and I will tell you like this fucking sucks. You don't have to put your head up and you don't have to call it the new normal. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do. But if you do want to talk to me about it, like, please, like, I am here. I am open. I will not judge you. I don't care if you want to tell me, like, it's easy and I'm crazy. I don't care if you want to tell me, this is the hardest thing ever. And anything that you want to say or you're feeling, I guarantee I've probably felt it. And so, please, please, please reach out. Please don't go through this alone.
Yes,
Please,
absolutely.
please don't. So,
Yeah,
thank
and no, no, I absolutely love it. And I'm just going to piggyback off of it before we get out of here. And that's just if you can't seem to reach Britt, everybody knows, just like she just said about herself, I'm very accessible. I may not can get to you right back right away, but if you can't get in touch with Britt or you don't know how, you can always message me and I'll get y'all linked up. And so please, 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 like she said, don't live out on an island. We have a large community and it's incredibly important that we stay connected. And wow, awesome. Thank you. I'll talk to you real soon. Probably tonight. Bye. So absolutely incredible. You know where to reach her. Twitter, Instagram. Um, Obviously, she's got her podcast and her thing going, and then obviously she's all over the place in the new social media app that just seems to have caught absolute fire, Clubhouse. And so, if any of this matters to you at all, like I tell people all the time, chicken bone theory stuff, we're not trying to construct anything super strict here. We're just putting a skeleton on it and seeing where it runs. But there's a lot of this stuff you're like, this just doesn't apply to me. That's okay. If there's one or two things that got you with that chicken bone theory, eat the meat, spit out the bone, then run with that. Maybe all of it was applicable, or maybe Cajun, I've watched 47 seconds of 4 shows and all of your crap sucks butthole. That's okay too. I still love you. I love everybody here. Please reach out if you need anything at all to talk to, because even physical disease can be a detriment to your mental health. And I think we've shown that here. Like it takes a huge toll on our mentalities. And so anything like that you need, reach out. We're always accessible. I love y'all very much. I will see you Wednesday, same Cajun time, same Cajun channel. Love y'all. I'm out.